Welcome everybody to this lovely interview. My name's Tom, I'm sat here with Mary. Mary's going to tell us a bit about her time at Lourdes. So I'm going to kick off with the first question. Who are you?
Mary McDermott.
Yes.
Negro.
Fantastic.
Lovely. I live in Morris and I've travelled up here to Stockport to answer some questions about Lourdes.
Fantastic.
All right?
Yes, that's fantastic, brilliant. So we were just touching then on about your favourite moment in Lourdes. So would you like to tell us?
There are so millions of favourite moments, but the one that outstands is one in 1956 when my husband, Diocesan McDermott, asked me to marry him at the grotto. And we were married in 57 and we were married for 40-something years until the year 2000. And he became the pilgrimage pharmacist from 1956 until he had still done it in 2000 when he died suddenly. So, we have 7 children and they are all commended with Lourdes except the eldest, whose favouritism happens to be Manchester United, if you don't mind.
You love Manchester.
So that Manchester United, but he always looks after all his things while we're away.
Good, good.
So they have 5 girls, another son. They've all worked in Lourdes, in all things, taken children out, worked on trains, and they still work to Lourdes. They still come to Lourdes.
So someone has told me that you actually became the first female president for Lourdes. So would you like to tell me about that?
Well, I was at Mass on December the 8th in Niso, and Canon Healy announced it. And I was speechless. So yes, that's true. And I went out to Lourdes, and when you go to Lourdes as president, you have to go and report that your diocese has landed in Lourdes in the pilgrimage. And they said, no. My French is very limited, their English was Dutch as it came out, and that they didn't have them as president. And I said, well, I've been elected by the diocese and the bishop. So, and there's a question of, in those days, bretelles. And the only person with a leather bretelle was the chief Rancardia, who should have been, was the president. But because it was circumstances, a woman, Simon Pritchard became the chief Rancardia. And I said, it's all right, I'll give him Simon the leather bretelle. Oh, that's all right, he can call it leather bretelle. No, you're not going around leather bretelle. That was French, so he just went with it. So that's how it came about. And I was president until the year 2000, when I felt that a time had come for me to hand on. During that period, we had decided, Canon Healy and Father Sharrocks, that we weren't very satisfied with the travel agents, and we say no more than that, and that we would do it ourselves. So we started then to do it ourselves. And it depends, Canon Healy, Father Sharrocks, John McDermott and Mary McDermott, and we asked Ted Malone, because he had a working French, to come and help us. And that was how the pilgrimage started around the dining room table in Chester, as it is now.
So Mary, a lot of people keep on coming back to Lourdes, and they all have their own reasons as to coming back. And I was really interested into why you kept on coming back to Lourdes for all those years.
My mother and father were married on February the 11th, 1928. And we were immediately from their wedding day on our Feast of Our Lady of Lourdes. It was always a very, very special day in the house, their wedding anniversary. And we were invited, my brother, who became Canon John Roper, whose first curacy was of this parish here in 1954, something like that. We all were brought up saying the Rosary, Our Lady of Lourdes, praying the Rosary in the air raid shelter in the wall, praying Our Lady all the way. And that was, I think, how I started to go to Lourdes. And I'm still going to Lourdes. So I didn't go when the children were small, but my husband went every year without fail till the last 2000 when he died just before we went. All right?
Fantastic, that's brilliant. So obviously within Lourdes, our main focus is Mary and Bernadette, and I was just wondering maybe what Bernadette had. How of an effect has that had on your time in Lourdes?
Right, my confirmation name is Bernadette. And I feel that Bernadette wasn't canonised until about the 1932s. I might be wrong on that, but it was as I was small. So we all grew up with Bernadette, a young girl, and how she served Our Lady. And she served Our Lady, she did as she was told. If she was given a message, she carried it out, no matter how painful it was. She was told to leave Lourdes and go to Nevers, but she never returned to Lourdes. And we're all given that journey in life. Somehow or another, the Lord speaks to us, we don't realise it, but we're put into a direction of, that's your job, get on with it. And I also feel that, like Bernadette said, when her job was finished, she was stood like a brush in a corner that's finished keeping the floor. And I feel I've come to that part of my life now where I think I've finished my job, I've tried to rear my family, I've tried to give as much help as I could to Lord, to the helpers, to the men and women, because you cannot thank all those people over the years, the patients starting off, they put up with all sorts of disadvantages in those hot trains. The boys and the girls that give the time, the men and the women that give the time after retirement, and the holidays and pay for themselves. And I don't think they realise in the hospitality that the hospitality is spread worldwide. And I can tell you, it's active in New Zealand because I've got a daughter there with a son who is active to Australia, who Ben Carroll is an administrator in the Sydney Opera House, who goes over to America, where they're there. Adrian McDermott is in with the Anthony Nolan Trust there. You'll have to edit this. And then I can go all around the world of where if something goes out in the hospitality, they ring me from all around the world, and you don't realise that the hospitality, you've got a jewel in your hand to treasure of companionship and faith and prayer. And each day, if everybody just says, "Our Lady of Lourdes, pray for me," and that is the gateway to the Lord through Our Lady.
What advice would you give to someone who's maybe thinking about going to Lourdes?
Go.
Maybe a bit too sure. Yeah?
Go.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Go. Everybody has a different time in Lourdes. Everybody, something different happens to people in all sorts of ways. You meet all sorts of people. We took one gentleman with us who had been in Singapore with a Japanese invader. He was lined up outside the hospital to be shot. He said the Hail Mary, never been to Lourdes, he said the Hail Mary, and a Spitfire flew over. And the Japanese came again to shoot the second time, and the third time they lined him up to shoot him. And each time he saved him. But he then went through, so he came back on the prisoner of war camp in a terrible state. So he was in the parish I was in, and I said to him, knowing well, why didn't you come with me to Lourdes? I couldn't, he said, I just don't have it in my heart that I could forgive these people. Come on, I said, come on. So, God help me, he came to Lourdes and he said, I don't know what to do. And I said, I'll give you a job to do. You can help John in the dispensary, because I knew he could do that job. And I said to John, oh, will you help me? Yeah. So anyway, I thought no more about it. And one day, it was after the underground, after the Blessed Sacrament procession was at the grotto, at the Rotary Square. So this was a big mass at the underground basilica. And this gentleman came to me, and the tears streaming down his face. He said, Mary, thank you. I said, what for? And he said, I came to the Kiss of Peace, he said, and I was saying, I don't know what I'm going to do, I can't do this. And I turned round, and by what? Wasn't there a Japanese person behind him? And he stopped, and he said, this person stopped, and then we put our arms around each other. And he said, we made our peace in Lourdes. And I thought, there's a story. To me, that was a little miracle in Lourdes. So little miracles like this are happening all the time in Lourdes. I'm not saying get up and walk, but little tiny miracles. And as long as you live, no matter how old you get, you put your hand in your pocket and Our Lady will be holding your hand.